Meeting will come to order, please. Any notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
We have before us for approval the minutes of our March 1st meetings. What is your pleasure?
I will make the motion to accept those minutes.
And I will second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
We will now open for public comment on any subject. We have 3 minutes.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, it's no surprise with acute and chronic cognitive impairment, you can or won't read the Philadelphia Inquirer. So I took the liberty of printing out in geriatric size print a seminal article by the Reverend Charles Boyer. It was not just a shot over the bow, but a torpedo to the very center of the ship of state. It was nothing short of a declaration of war on the status quo, vis-a-vis the de facto segregation pandemic in New Jersey's public school education. This minister is no storefront preacher with a $25 divinity degree off the internet, but rather a third-generation AME pastor, think Jack and Jill, with a burning desire and zeal to see public education as we know it upended, if not ended, period. His manifesto makes no bones about his objectives. He notes, despite Brown versus the Board of Education, New Jersey schools remain amongst the 5 most segregated in the entire nation. He further declares, quote, the New Jersey Constitution explicitly protects the right of students to attend diverse schools. Too many students of color are deprived of the quality education received by their white counterparts. The level of segregation that exists in schools throughout the state is a travesty. The time to take action is now. The students must not be deprived of the benefits of learning side by side with people who are different from them. We must recommit ourselves to the robust enforcement of this important civil rights protection. End of quote. Mayor, normally I'd be flippant and say the preacher is just blowing smoke. And if Christie were governor, he'd tell him to go pound sand. But we are in a new era of radical governance with Mother Murphy and Sister Oliver. They are nothing short of Marxist socialists in favor of radical fundamental change or even revolution. Mayor, if your neurons and synapses were firing properly, you'd be better able to appreciate the gravitas of this most explosive situation. Mayor, you're well aware I've called repeatedly for right-sizing our schools to just one school, preferably Ross. However, now we must begin to think outside the box to realize that de facto segregation in Margate with less than 1% black students and 2 half-empty schools makes it a sitting duck. Thus, Mayor, Margate must now contemplate becoming a sending district to Ventnor because a state takeover would totally obliterate the status quo. Mayor, do something right for a change and contemplate the changes that must be taken before it's too late. Don't do your Goofy Dunes Act again. Don't vacillate nor procrastinate. There's far too much at stake. Keep the remaining 4 seconds, Mayor.
Can I keep that, John? I hope you...
It's on tape, Mayor. You can read it every night till it sinks in.
Thank you, John, for your comment. Any other public comment?
Yes. Hi, my name is Greg Mangle. I live at 7 Exeter Court. I'm sure you're aware, but 8 Exeter Court is my neighbor. That house was raised in August of 2015, and since that time, there has been no activity whatsoever. So we're going on the 3rd summer that it'll be exposed to the elements. I personally witnessed raccoons go in there, stray cats, as well as possum. The yard is unsightly, to say the least. I implore you to come on by. John has been by before, and John and I have been communicating for over a year as to the status of what's going to happen with this property. There have also been vagrants in the property. 2 weeks ago, we had to call the police. because there were gentlemen in there looking to steal stuff out of the garage. And their statement to me was, well, we heard this is in pre-foreclosure. So that's concerning as well. It's concerning to all the neighbors, not to mention we have a huge number of children in that neighborhood that are constantly there. The property is unsafe. It's an unsafe structure. I really wonder if this would continue, if this was in public sight, if it was on the Parkway, Jerome Avenue. We're in a cul-de-sac, nobody sees it. So it's continuing to be a problem, and I want to know what the city is going to do about it. And I also want to offer, what they need us to do to help the neighbors. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Mangle, you've been in contact, obviously, with the solicitor.
Yes.
And we've talked about that at the previous meeting. So, Scott, would you bring Mr. Mangle up to
Well,
date?
as you
What's going
probably,
on?
I know you're aware because you were there.
Yep.
It's in court in front of Judge Rosenberger, our municipal court. I don't
Wait,
have.
can I just, when you say it's, what exactly is it?
Charges against the property owner for failure to maintain.
Failure to maintain. Okay, I was unclear as to
In
what.
addition now, the state is sending their representative down tomorrow, as you're probably aware.
Yep.
The state funded the raising of this house. I don't know the exact figure. I
Okay.
would imagine it's about $100,000. State of New Jersey is invested in this property. We have him coming here tomorrow at 10 o'clock, 10 or 10:30, I believe. John?
10:30, I think it is.
10:30 to
Okay.
meet with us and go over what are the options. The city's desire would be to tear it down if it's not going to be renovated. However, there is a first mortgage on it in foreclosure. There is also the state lien on it for, I don't know the exact amount, but upwards of $100,000.
Okay.
So I know we would all love to just tear it down tomorrow and be done with it, but the homeowner's got some rights too, and the state of New Jersey has some money invested in this property. But we are pushing it, we're on it, and as I say, as soon as I know something after tomorrow's meeting, I'll let you know
Okay.
what they said. I mean, they might say, we give you permission to tear it down, or they might say, we'll furnish the rest of the money to have it, whatever, something done to it. I doubt that. I would
Okay.
think.
Okay, great. So I'll look
Okay.
for an update. Thank you.
You're-
Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment?
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. I understand that you have a new budget. I guess we're not allowed to look at the budget yet, or did I get here before I could pre-budget? No?
It'll be on the internet tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you. As a watchdog group, the concerned citizens of Margate, we're always interested in the budget and interested in, the taxpayers' dollars. And we've been among the ones that have been appreciative of Ford Scott, unlike other people. Feel that they've done a good job. It really, came in here and really turned things around. But I just want to look over I've had this thing that I've been interested in over the years is a comparison of the police budget and the fire budget. And last year, it seemed to me that the fire budget was like almost $1 million more than the police budget. And I'd like to see those two come much closer together if possible. So that's, and also I mentioned this to a couple of people, that I'm concerned that the fire department was not run properly under Chief Tabasso. And possibly the new Chief Adams is following in the same footsteps, possibly, at least initially. I'd like to have somebody come in here, possibly a professional, and just make sure from the beginning here, let's get things in the right direction, okay? Instead of just continuing with the way it was, which I feel it wasted taxpayer money. So I'd like to make sure, possibly get a professional, maybe a newly retired person from Philadelphia, a captain, or battalion chief or something from Philadelphia, or somebody from New York that's retired. Maybe get them to come down and take a look at the fire department and, make some suggestions to maybe streamline things, try to save a little bit of money. That's what I'm interested in, saving money. Not, of course, we want the best service for the people, but can it be done maybe on more of a budget than it's been done on? That's my concern. And I guess that's the main issue that I've had.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Any other public comment?
Mayor, may I get a clarification on the request by Mr. Balanson, Barbary Coast LLC? They wanted us, one of the governing body, to consent to allow them to reference that they would have permission to use 7 parking spaces in front of their facility. I thought we had done this already, but Chris Balanson came up and said they have their hearing next week, and Johanna has confirmed with me that the spaces in front of the, I'll call it the Integrity Marina, they want to be able to have 7 of those spaces, either by way of license or ownership or something.
Which ones do they own now?
They do not own any of them now. We went through a long title examination.
And you
They
discovered-
quick claim, yes, we discovered that really it was the city of Margate's, although they had been used as private parking spaces for years, not by the current owner.
Is this
So
integrity?
that's integrity, that's integrity. I
So-
believe they're gonna move over 10 feet or 5 feet or something.
No, and so you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we talked about taking this island out and making it 7.
Yeah, he says in his letter 7, and I assume that 7 is what they want, not, but this would probably be more parking, we took that island out. So, he asked for a letter. I don't think we should do that without you having information. You're sure we don't have a letter already?
Not for 7 spaces.
Was there any letter?
I believe it was 4.
Yeah, that's my inclination, is that,
It's up to you guys. I mean, I think
I mean,
you can authorize them to reference it. You can ask the planning board to make a recommendation. You don't have to do it. But it was their parking spaces for years, and it will be directly in front of them.
yeah, when will they be going to the planning board?
I think this month.
The 22nd of March.
Next week from today.
And we did not send a letter, right?
I have
Not for 7, you're saying, right? What'd we
not
set it
for 7.
Yeah, we'll keep what's on record, and we can revisit it as approvals come forth. And if,
Well, you always have the right to control the parking. The question is, can they say to the planning board that they intend to lease this or license it or buy it? Because they want to build that whole bulkhead. Remember, they're going to build over about, what is it, 175 foot of brand new bulkhead too. That was what the trade-off was. I think you ought to get the planning board to make a recommendation.
yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
So, are we okay to say up to 7 spaces, subject to further consideration and recommendation by the planning? Is that fair?
I'm good.
I mean, you asked me, it's up to you guys, but they are going in front of the board.
Well, if we've already sent,
We sort of agreed in principle to
Yeah,
to
we-
do all this.
we understand that, but
John, I don't remember a letter for 4, to be quite honest with you.
I don't remember a letter, I just remember, and I'm going through my old notes.
But, go
well,
ahead.
we did send a letter that we support the project, right?
Project,
I
correct.
think so, yes.
That's,
And we co-signed
Right.
on the DEP application, I believe. Was that this one or the other one? It might have been- or both of them.
The DEP didn't require our recommendation.
we sent a letter to the planning board at their request that we supported the project. Am I correct?
Yes.
I believe, yes. But it didn't talk about the parking.
Well, I think at the point, after the planning board review, and if they give us the recommendation, then I think,
So you let them present it to the planning board for their recommendation
Yeah,
of the board?
sure,
Okay, I
absolutely.
can word it. So I'll do a letter for you so that they can consider it, but you're not bound to anything.
okay.
Sounds
right,
good.
good enough.
Okay.
Moving on.
Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I will make that motion.
Second,
Mayor Becker?
yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
We will now open public comment on resolutions. Is there any public comment on resolutions listed on your agendas?
I'll move to close public comment.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes,
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
okay. Do you want to get, are we doing Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Okay, so. we
Well,
should
no,
get
wait, him. aren't we going to do the introduction? Do we want to make comments on the budget?
Okay.
Okay.
There's no comment on here.
Okay.
May I have a motion for ordinance number 4? 2018, calendar 18 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
May I have a motion for ordinance number 5, an ordinance amending and supplementing the land use ordinance of the City of Margate, Chapter 175, Section 29, zoning map.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
May we call in?
He's on the line.
Okay. Commissioner Blumberg, are you in attendance?
I am, yes.
Thank you. May I have a motion for authorizing payment and claims?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
May I have a motion authorizing payment and claims to Colmar Home Center?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
I abstain.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Blumberg.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All right, enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Enjoy your vacation.
All right, good, bye.
Okay,
Go ahead.
resolution number 70, 2018 is authorizing the budget introduction.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
With us today is our auditor, Mr. Leon Costello, is here to present the budget.
Thank you, Mayor. The budget that you have before you, you have a summary sheet that looks like this. It's a small 8.5 by 11. All the details are summarized on that. The highlights are, the first question always asked is, what's it do to our taxes? Nothing. There's no tax increase. Last year it was 61.8. This year it's 61.8. You're funding all the projects. There's no one-timers in here. It's a very clean budget. You're well within the cap. That ordinance that you just introduced is misleading terminology where it says to exceed. You're not exceeding anything. If you look at your document, you're $2,120,000 under what you're allowed to be. So that's just a boilerplate ordinance that the state requires. The important part of that ordinance is that you're banking what's not used. So if something were to happen, you could go after that. But right now we're not. We're well under the levy cap. You have plenty of room in the 2% levy cap also. So the budget's compliant with all state requirements. I was listening, and one more thing, your fund balance is in good position. If you look at where it says condition of surplus, we're better off than we were last year, and we're still at no tax increase. I went over this budget with Mr. Bloomberg yesterday for probably 20 minutes or so, went through all of it with him, and he's very familiar with what the contents are. In listening to your discussions earlier, if you look at your sheets 40, B, C, and D, they're all the way in the back, where you talked about your capital budget. The capital budget in here is nothing more than a wish list, we'll say, a plan, what may happen. Your ordinances will dictate what you actually do. This is just in here because it's a requirement that you have a plan laid out. They are obviously very large estimates. They're not, pinpointing to anything. But when you do an ordinance, whenever that comes, I think you said maybe in June. Dawn, you said roughly? Okay. Okay. When that ordinance is done, we amend these numbers to match that ordinance. So if you look back there, don't worry about what those numbers say. The ordinance dictates what you do. They're here for informational purposes only. So we need, you already did vote, we need 2 votes to introduce this. The public hearing will be on April 18th, which is when the public, again, has a chance to comment on this. It'll be advertised in the paper. It's going to be on the website for you. And we do need to wait till the April 12th, I think, is the meeting of the Board of School Estimates, because you're a type 1 school, so their amount to be raised goes in your budget. It's in and it's out, has no effect on your budget. Under the law, type 1s must be included on here. So we'll get that information at the Board of School Estimates, put that in here, and it'll be part of your adopted budget. And I did go over with Steve those numbers, and I showed him that, where it's not $1 million difference. We went over it, and he's good with those numbers.
Okay.
And he'll see them when he gets his actual copy.
Okay. Thank you very much, Leon, and thank you for the work you do for the people of Margate.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Johanna.
Okay.
Continue.
I would like a motion for the consent agenda for resolution numbers 71, 2018 through 73, 2018.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
I would like a motion for an emergency resolution to repair Amherst Avenue bulkhead due to the threat of public safety and need for emergency repair.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Anybody have anything else? Thank you, Johanna. Anyone have anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Thank you all for being here.